Let it
Wheels go
go.
round and
Let
round,
it
ride it all
be.
down.
Let it
Sing
roll.
Yate, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. We are so excited that the Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle is turning into a perpetual event once a month to keep us all informed about what's going on in different parts of Turtle Island. So we'd like to take this time to acknowledge the traditional owners, ancestors, and caretakers of these lands, known as Oka Poke Owinge, also known as Santa Fe. We are grateful to be on these lands. Thank you all for having us. And a shout out to all your ancestors and caretakers to the lands you're beaming in from. Thank you. Yeah. So this evening, we are really excited to have a brother from far away with us tonight. Our brother, Weyhan, we call him Moon. Last name Smith, is a proud member of the Shinnecock Nation of Long Island, New York, who now lives here in New Mexico with us in Rio Rancho. Here he is able to raise his three teenage sons, and he's in long-term recovery since 2018 and is a certified peer support worker, Narcan, and MHFA trainer. And I'm sure Moon will talk more about that so we can learn more about what he does to support our folks. And he is also a talking circle facilitator. That's a big, exciting thing for all of us in Indian country is let's not interrupt each other. Let's let each other finish our sentences. His healing work is rooted in the belief that culture is medicine. Please welcome Weyhan Smith, also known as Moon.
Tabutnish, thank you. Akwe matampi akwana kisuk. Wayana tusu wa Shinnecock na tushiye. Hello, my relatives. Good day. My name is Wayan, aka Moon. I come from the Shinnecock Nation, people of the Rocky Shore in Long Island, New York. And yes, Tosh, I am a person that's in long-term recovery. So for me, that means I haven't had a mind-altering substance since January 9th of 2018, coming up on 7 years and 6 months. And I say that with pride and I say that with conviction because that journey has allowed me to become a full-time father, which is why I'm in New Mexico, right? People always ask me, what are you doing in New Mexico, Moon? And my reply is, because of my fatherhood, because of my commitment to my children, because I needed to make my amends to my children. So I have three amazing boys, one of which is back in my homeland, back in Shinnecock, and he's pursuing his career in real estate. And I have two other boys who are here in New Mexico. One will be attending New Mexico State University here in August. And then I have my youngest son who will be a junior in high school. I'm almost done, right? But I'm just like very proud of them, very proud of their journey. And I'm also very proud of our relationship that we have now. You know, my recovery has allowed me to create a relationship back with my boys and make that amends to them, right? Which they absolutely deserve. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here in New Mexico. New Mexico has treated me very well. As Taj said, I am a certified peer support worker. And all that means is that I use my lived experience to help others. People always ask me, Moon, what do you do? I see you all over the place. And then I break it down. I said I do one thing. I'm gonna share a term with you. And this term comes from the Haudenosaunee people up north in Akwesasne. They say, Gunalunkwa. And what that means is that I share my medicine with you. My story is my medicine, right? My story is my medicine. I share that with you in hopes that you can use my story to start your healing journey, right? And so I'm privileged to have for the creator to give me that gift I am also a licensed substance abuse associate. Just means I have a junior counseling license, basically, right? I also do facilitate talking circles. I'm gonna put a plug in every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. via Zoom. We do an amazing talking circle. All walks of life are invited. I've been doing it for over 5 years now. This is just my commitment. This is just my job is to create space for others. That's my job, to create a safe space for others so we can come and we can laugh, we can cry, we can pray, we can inspire, we can motivate each other, right? It's a safe space, but we also have our cultural components within that talking circle. So I also facilitate that. I'm a mental health first aid trainer, a youth mental health first aid trainer. Narcan trainer, opioid use disorder trainer, all these different things. Again, all I do is I use my story and my skills to help others. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Thank you so much. So what I'd like to know is what does MHFA stand for?
Mental health first aid.
That's really beautiful. That's healing work, all right. So tell us about yourself, your childhood growing up, and what is it like in Long Island and you're in New Mexico, so that's a faraway place. So tell us all about that.
Absolutely. I grew up connected to culture, connected to the land. I heard you talk a lot about the land in our intro, Tosh, and we were very connected to our land. Shinnecock is a very sacred and beautiful place. It is our territory. We do not call it a reservation. Although we catch ourselves, right? Because the term res is like a slang term, right? We always say that. Oh, I'm going to the res. And I say it as well. But for clarification, it is our territory. And the reason why we say that is because we reside on our original Aboriginal land. It was never taken from us. So I'm actually heading back to New York, to my homeland, in a couple hours, and I'm taking my children back. And when we go back home, one of the first things we do is we go to our waters and we introduce ourselves. We introduce ourselves to our waters, letting the water know that we are back home, and we offer our medicines to that water, right? And that's our way because we know that water is taking care of us. We're going to go climbing in our water, the same water that our ancestors harvested 10,000 years ago. That's how far back we can document our people. It's our original land. Yes, it was made short. It was made smaller, I should say. It was made smaller because we are first contact people, which means we first met the folks from across the pond, they call it, from Europe. We met them 1639 at a place called Conscious Point. And that's where, the assimilation and colonialism, that's where all that happened, right? But that our land was never taken. Or should I say, our land was taken, it was made smaller, but we were able to preserve enough land for us to reside. But guess what? We're still fighting for our land. We are buying back land. We are winning land lawsuits, right? We know we are caretakers of that land, and so that is coming to fruition as we speak, right? We're in battle right now with the surrounding town as well as New York State for them to acknowledge our Aboriginal titles to our land, right? And so that's extremely important to us. And so I grew up, my father and my mother, they brought me up in a sweat lodge. They brought me up in ceremony. They brought me up to sing and dance and to be proud, right? But I will tell you this. I would tell you that it was also very difficult. It was a difficult way of life, right? I was teased very much growing up, a lot. And that led to my substance use. And why was I teased? I was teased and I was bullied because I sang, because I danced, because I went to ceremony. I did all these things that my mother and father taught me how to do. They taught me how to live off the land. I went camping all the time with my father, right? But because other people in my community, other relatives didn't grow up that way, they grew up a different way, right? Why? Well, a lot of it had to do with boarding schools. Grandmas and grandpas getting sent off to boarding schools and learning a different way of life, and then coming back and raising their children that different way of life. But I wasn't raised that way. I was raised in our traditional way. And so maybe my relatives didn't understand, right? The way that I was being raised. Maybe they were envious. I don't know. But I also know this, that when I traveled off territory and I would travel all over the country, including New Mexico when I was younger, to come sing and dance, I was also teased by our own indigenous relatives because the color of my skin was darker, because my hair was wavier. That hurt my spirit. That hurt my spirit. It hurt my self-esteem. I remember not wanting to be indigenous anymore because it was too hard, right? And then, of course, that led to substance use, right? But let me tell you this, the importance of culture, because it never left me. Yes, I strayed away from it when I was using my substances, when I was in that dark phase of my life. I strayed away, but it was always there. And so when I was able to come back, those medicines were still there. Creator was still there, right? And I used that to strengthen myself and continue to use that to strengthen myself. Just like this morning when I went outside and I made my offering, giving my thanks in our way. So that's a little bit about me, just how I grew up and just super grateful. I'm just very grateful for all the experiences that I had, throughout my journey.
You are a powerful brother. Your truth speaks to me personally, on a personal level, even though I'm from this southwest side of North America's United States of America. My father was a French Irish man from upstate New York. He fell in love with a
Mm,
Navajo in the 60s, married her. I came out of that love, and I too was mimicked, marginalized, and rejected on my lands from my peers, made fun of by some of my family members in good riddance. But as a little child, I didn't take it as good riddance.
mhm.
When I would be introduced to family, hey, di Margaret Dalton, Bitsui, a Twitch Eatney, Bije, Belagana, and the translation for that is this is Tosh, Margaret's granddaughter. She is Bitterwater from the mountain, Black Mountain, and her dad was a white man. Was means he's no longer here. And as a little 5-year-old, I would just smile. And then I'd see the elders giggle, and they loved me. They fed me,
Yeah,
they held me.
yeah.
But I didn't take it that way. So I get you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. I love the power in vulnerability and deep truth because I think we can all relate. Every single one of us that's on this show tonight is going to relate on some level to what you're talking about. Doesn't matter where we're from, what culture we come from, what gender we refer to ourselves as. We still have our challenges. So,
Mhm.
what is the Shinnecock tribe known for? And can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. You know who we were, and in some aspects still are? Whalers. Our relatives were whalers. Our ancestors are whalers. So much so is that when they had the European ships and they were going out to go hunt their whales, who would they come to help them? The Shinnecock people, the Shinnecock men. That's what we're really known for, was for our whaling skills. There was a tragic, I believe it was 1890, and forgive me if I have the date wrong, but there was a tragedy out in sea. on a fleet called the Circassian, in which we honor December 29th, we honor our relatives that perished at sea on that whaling event. And but we were very well known for whalers. And you know, I want to share this with you. This is how amazing our ancestors were way back when, right? My father shared this story with me. So we have connections with different water people throughout the world, particularly with the Hawaiian relatives, right? My father told me there's an actual site in Hawaii where you could go and you're gonna see some folks that are buried there, including Shinnecock and including our sister tribe, the Wampanoag people, who I will be visiting this weekend. Cannot wait, right? Anyway, they're all buried there together with Hawaiian folks. And the reason why is because of that whaling route. It's because we were there whaling with them. You see what I'm saying? And so we're way on the other side of the world, basically, right? And for us to navigate all the way around, that's amazing, right? My father is very involved in learning more about the whales and the importance of them to our relatives, right? To our well-being. He goes to Alaska and visit with the indigenous tribes in Alaska and asking them, you know, um, about the whaling, how do I say, whaling hunt, right? You know, there are opportunities for us to take our youth to go on a whaling hunt, right? And so those are some of the things that my father is working on to preserve, right? To preserve those so important ways of life, right? Because we never know when we have to go back to that,
Right.
right? We never know, we don't know, right? This world can go it can go down, right? And how are we going to survive via land? Off the land, right?
That's what I want to ask you. So you
Yeah.
said whaling. So to a Southwest Indigenous person that knows sheep and elk and fish, like little ones like trout, maybe some good sized bass, maybe whaling. What does your tribe do with that beautiful
Yeah.
breed?
So way back then, it was more about like all the resources, particularly the food. It was meat. It was meat, right? Like true meat. You can eat well, right? And so that was a source, right? When they were on the Circassian, when we were on that fleet, there was hunting whales for the oil, right? Because we know oil is going to generate everything that we need. At that time, it was heat, it was light, it was all these different things, right? So they were using and hunting whales for their oil, but also for food, right? And so check this out. So right now, and this is why our history is so strong, and this is why our people are so strong. So to this very day, we have whales that wash up on shore on our coastline, right? Back at home. Our tribe is a peninsula. So we're surrounded by water, we're surrounded by the bay, right? And then we have the ocean right there, like literally right across the bay is the ocean. And you have whales that wash up on shore. And who's called first? Shinnecock. Shinnecock, we need you to come. We have a whale. And so they give us that respect and that opportunity to have our blessings, have that time with that whale, to have our ceremonies for to us to sing for that whale, right? I never forget this, and you can actually look this up. You can Google Shinnecock whaling, and you're probably going to see an image. You're going to see several images, most likely. One of them may be my father. So I never forget the first time I had got to experience when the whale washed up on the ocean shore, and my father was invited to go down and take care of that whale. And I remember going down and I'm seeing him inside of the whale's mouth, cutting out the baleen. The baleen is like the teeth of the whale, right? It's that part of the mouth to where when they go in and they have their mouths wide open and all the plankton is going through, it's like their I guess you could say like their filter in a whale's mouth, right? But there's a significance. There's a to that baleen, right? And so my dad was cutting that baleen out. We're still in the process of learning what was the significance of that baleen, but we know there was because we have been gifted baleen from other indigenous tribes, particularly in Alaska. We were gifted that. And when I go back home tonight, I have baleen in my home that was gifted. It holds a power, right? And so, um, I just think it's amazing. And I think it's an honor for us to be recognized enough for people to call us to go and take care of that whale before anything else happens, before they process it, before they bury it, because usually it's buried in the ocean, excuse me, in the ocean beach. Usually that's where it's buried, but they also allow us to take care of that first, to offer it song, to offer it ceremony, to offer it thanks. You know what I mean? Um, so I just think that's powerful. I just wanted to share that. I think it's amazing.
So well, thank you so much for sharing that. This is completely new information. I'm sure it would be hard to find in any book. So the next thing I was going to ask you is, how did your ancestors acquire the whales when they went out to get food, and how do they do it now?
You know, I can only assume harpoon.
That's what
Like
I was
literally,
thinking. That's what I was
literally, right? And so, like our vessels to go out in the water were canoes, dugout canoes, right? We dig our own canoes. They literally just had a dugout canoe a couple weeks ago back in our home. They dug it out traditionally, burnt it out, took a big tree trunk, right? And you burn the inside out. It's a slow burn, but it's ceremony. So they had a community canoe building back at home a couple weeks ago, right? And I believe they gifted that canoe to a museum. And so I literally just talked to my cousin, and they're going to be doing another building of a traditional canoe, a mashoon, right? That's what we call it, a mashoon, and that's going to be for the community, so the community to use. So our vessels, our water vessels, were the canoe, and that's how they went out. And I don't know like too much of like how they did it because you think about it. You think about a canoe being in the ocean and them harpooning whales and having to drag them back. Like, how did that happen? How did that happen? But we know it did. You know what I mean? And so I would imagine there had to be other instruments involved and whatnot. I'm not privy to that, but just the thought of that mind boggles me. But we know it's true because people looked at the Shinnecock people as these amazing whalers, right?
just like the Pacific Island people that came from Hawaii Key. They made these canoes that were able to go from what some people think Atlantis. Like all these people came, and the Maoris, the Tongans, the Samoans, the Hawaiians are cousins to that. And they all split from this massive land and went out. How did those canoes sustain the long pond, the big pond as you're talking about, and get to those lands to decide where they wanted to put these seeds that they brought with them from this land that's the great mystery, that can't figure it out. It's just amazing what our ancestors were able to do, right?
Here's a beautiful story of what you're just talking about. Not a few years ago, I can't remember how long ago. Um, I was working with some youth. I was doing youth council back at home in Shinnecock. And we have relationships with people of the Pacific, South Pacific, Hawaii, Polynesian. They had a vessel called the Hukalea that was traveling across the world as they did, as their ancestors did, I should say. No compass, only the stars to guide them, to help them navigate, right? This is a few, not, maybe 10 years ago or longer than that. I can't really remember the time, but it was called the Hokulea. And they came up the Hudson River and they came to New York and we greeted them. We had our mashoons, our canoes there, and we went out and we greeted them. They asked for permission to come on shore. And so we greeted them with song. And as these relatives came off of that Hokulea, I had our youth offer them wampum shells wampum shell necklaces. So they each got gifted that because wampum is extremely important to our people. The clam shell, that's what wampum comes from, right? And so I just want to share that because that was a beautiful time in my life to meet our relatives from way over there. And they had their vessel and they sailed around the world using only the stars to navigate as ancestors did. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I feel the connection from you because as I recall, when I first met you to discuss collaboration with Indigenous Ways with your stuff, which is beautiful and is still going to happen when the time is right, you offered me a beautiful abalone shell. And you know that abalone shell, even though I come from Black Mountain, Big Mountain on my Navajo side, has resonance because the Navajo people love abalone, for earrings and necklace purposes. And there's spiritual significance to that stone, to that shell as well. And my grandma can tell us all about it. She's now in the spirit world. But she had all that traditional knowledge that
Mhm.
our ancestors go with, But there is a connection. There is a connection even
Absolutely.
way over here because, as we all know, a long time ago this was water as well. So people that get stuck in there's no water out here, there used to be water here, and
Yeah.
you can see it in the rocks and the stone.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
all really interesting. So you answered my next question, which was going to be, how does your people, or how did they sustain themselves? So obviously it was mainly whale, but I'm sure there was a whole bunch of other stuff, including the fertile soil. Don't you guys have fertile soil in New
We
York?
have amazing soil.
Roads,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
yeah, soil is
Yeah.
important in
Mhm.
plants and herbs. I mean, our medicines in our backyards, if only we know how to process and use and what they're for. I mean, arthritis, headaches, uh, preventing cancer. I mean, it's in the leaves, man. So
Yeah.
you guys are pretty amazing with that. So, does your work give you inspiration? Does it keep you sustained within your spirit?
Ooh, so my work is spirit work, right? That's how I look at it. I look as my work that I do as spirit work, right? My job is to help heal spirits because I know what that feels like to have a broken spirit. I know what that feels like, right? And so how do we nurture that spirit, right? Because I truly believe that we're here in this physical world, having this physical experience to prepare us for the next world, that spirit world. And what that means is that we have to develop our spiritual tools. So for me, developing my spiritual tools means helping others. That's what feeds my spirit. That's what makes me feel good. And it is absolutely um fulfilling for myself. It is hard work. It is draining. And you have to understand and know when you have to take a time out to rejuvenate that spirit, right? And so the work that I do, I just love, first of all, my work allows me to connect with other relatives, no matter where you come from, indigenous, from whatever part of the world you come from, I invite you, right? I welcome you because I want to learn from you as well, right? I want to learn from you and I want to connect with you because we're always going to have something in common, right? This world has come to that concept of division and I believe this way and you believe that way and we can't ever be get along. And that's just not true. There's always commonality, right? And so that's what my work allows me to do. It allows me to connect with someone from whatever background you come from, right? And that's healing for me, right? That's healing for me. Um, and so right now I have been working extremely hard. I have about 10 different jobs that I do, right? And I'm taking a break. I'm going back to my homeland because that is going to heal my spirit. That's going to rejuvenate that spirit. When I go home and I have my traditional clam bake to celebrate my son's accomplishments, that's healing for me. That's going to help my spirit. When I go back home and I jump in that ocean and I ride those waves, that's healing my spirit. When I go back home and I travel across the pond to go visit our relatives in Wampanoag and celebrate with their powwow and their medicine game of fireball, when I'm there, that's healing my spirit. That's rejuvenating me. So I can come back and help others, right? And yeah, that's my work is my everything. And it's all in Creator's plan because I didn't know this was going to happen in my life. This wasn't what I wanted, right?
A couple of blocks in between that opening with the lifestyle that happened before you
Yeah,
decided, what do you want to call it, wake
absolutely.
up, whatever. But I was thinking when you gave me that abalone, you also gave some little shells too, which are great because one's in the car with the sage you gave too. So anytime I hit a stone in my head in my car, I get to pull out your little gift and I get to just smudge myself, open the windows, and just go, everything's going to be okay, Tosh.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Your medicine has touched me from the gift giving of your heart. So thank you very much. And it was just from just meeting you. So that's why I invited you on the show because, well, many other reasons, but that's definitely the main reason. It's just you're such a beautiful spirit. So thank you for your work. But as you were talking and sharing, I was thinking about you say you've got three sons that are Pueblo, their mother's
hmm
Pueblo,
hmm
and you're Shinnecock.
hmm
So I'm thinking Pueblos. Pueblos have a serious history on Turtle Island. And people have all kinds of ideas of what that is, what that means, how many there were there, Pueblos, how many remain. And people speak on behalf of Pueblos, but there's Pueblos. They're still here and they're still speaking their languages. They're still doing their ceremonies, and they are some of the nicest tribes I have ever met in our life. And might I say, our brother here tonight with us, Errol, is Pueblo from the Picoris tribe. So thank you for being
Mm.
with us, brother. Yeah, so we have a Pueblo brother with us tonight. Um, but what I want to say is Shinnecock, first contact, Pueblos, what year contact? I don't know. I wasn't, but all I know is to think that you have three beings created from the blood of the Pueblo, the first people of these lands that people say have been here the longest. And that's, the Pueblos know, right? And the Shinnecocks.
hmm
So what a combination. What a combination. But what I can say about your sons and our interpreter tonight and their feast days here in the Southwest, I go to.
Yep.
And when do I go to those feasts? For very special occasions. And those special occasions are when we have visitors from Australia, when we have visitors from New Zealand. We just had some visitors from Mexico City, Australia, and Elena took them to a feast. Okay, Wingay. Did I say that
Nice.
right? Yeah, I think I did say that
Yeah.
right. Used to be called
Yeah.
San Juan when I first got
Yeah.
here, but the original name's OK Wingay.
Yep.
And so what a blessing. What a blessing that you have your beings, Pueblo and Shinnecock. How does that feel?
I have to say that being here in the Southwest, I have been treated with so much, like I just been welcomed in every community. I do a lot of work within the indigenous communities here, within all the pueblos. You mentioned Oke Wingay. You have an amazing relationship with the Oke Wingay. I will be up there. I actually was just with them yesterday, talking with them yesterday. Like I do a lot of recovery work with them. Pickeries. I didn't know that, Errol. Piccaries. I worked in Piccaries tribe, doing recovery work. I work all over with the different pueblos here, but I'm just very grateful that my children are so rooted within the culture of Toa, of Walla Toa, of Jemez, where they come from. That's their first language. Their first language is Toa, right? And they're just so rooted in that culture, right? That part of society is there, right? And then they know how to cultivate their land. My boys go down to the fields in Jemez and they have to nurture those lands. They got to weed them. They got to make sure everything is, they got to irrigate. They have to do all these things. So they were raised that way. They were raised to respect this land. And and then you have and that's here in the Southwest, right? The desert land, right? And then they go back home, and my boys know how to clam. They know how to harvest the waters back at home, right? And so, how amazing is for them to have the best of both worlds, to know the land and be connected to the land here in New Mexico, and then go back to New York, to Long Island, to Shinnecock, and be able to fit right in, to jump right in, right? But my boys are not afraid of that water. I had them in that ocean when they were 2 years old, right? And teaching them how to crab, how to clam. And I just can't wait because we are so excited to put our feet back in that water and dig our clams, right? And like we never missed a beat. And it's amazing. So I love it. And honestly, they're very well rounded because they have so much culture within their lives. So much.
So thank you for sharing that. That brings me great joy to hear this because my father was from upstate New York. So I do have French and Irish roots and genetics that I know very little about. But I had a good family, and some of them are still there. I don't have much contact at all, but got mom, that full
Mhm.
blood from Big Mountain, born on Big Mountain. And my grandma's from Black Mountain, and those two mountains are actually connected. So if you go to Chinle, Saley, you see those mountains. It's really long, long mountain off into panoramic vision. And then when you come from Shiprock towards Kayenta, you see another long mountain. So that mountain's like this and like this. And then up in there, it looks like a valley, but it has different kind of textures and it's all dirt road with no, just recently, the last 5 years, the home sites got electricity. And before
Wow.
that, some solar panel installations happening. Still no water, but that mountain is like this. And then once you get on top of it, it's just vast.
Mm.
And it's, where I come from. But it's just beautiful that you have children that are just pretty much encompassing the whole the whole country
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
indigenous. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to ask you two more questions, and then I'm going to take a little commercial break for Elena to tell us some stuff. What are your goals? I know you're a dad, and I'm assuming besides you taking care of yourself and your recovery, your kids probably come first. What are you gonna do when they're all grown? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I sure have. I got 2 more years, right? So, the beautiful part about being a father is my children inspire me. My children absolutely 100% inspire me. I have a son who made a decision to go back to New York and pursue a real estate career in the Hamptons. Just so you guys know, Shinnecock is in the middle of the wealthiest place in America called the Hamptons. Right? And so my son decided, you know what, Dad? That's a pretty good opportunity, and I want to learn real estate. And so he moved back to New York. He went and he just pursued his real estate career. He got his license and now he's just learning the steps. That is amazing. Taking a risk on yourself, following your dream, right? Following your dream.
That's
My,
amazing, especially
yeah,
since he grew up traditional and he's stepping
yeah.
into a whole different world and a whole different vibe. So
Hmm.
that's awesome. So the last question I have for you before the break is, even though I kind of think I know the answer, I still want to hear it from you because it's our theme for the year and it's Fano, Aiga. And in your language, what does family mean to you? And what does it mean to you just in general? I mean, it's a term. What does family mean to you? And then we'll pass on to we'll go to Elena.
Okay. So honestly, family is more than blood. Family is more than blood to me, right? I have family from all walks of life, from all over the country. We call each other brothers for a reason. We call each other sisters for a reason. We call each other's aunties and uncles for a reason, right? Because we look at them as so, because they are family to us, because we have that passion and that love for them as in that way, right? I don't get caught up in that. That's a colonial mindset for me, right? Is that you're only my uncle by blood. No, we don't think that way. You're my uncle because you treated me like that, because you loved me like that, right? Because I respect you like that. You see what I'm saying? And so family for me is not just blood. It's all the people who I meet throughout my journey in life. If you made an impact on my life or if I made an impact on yours, we are family. You can call me and I hope I can call you.
I feel that. I feel that. And I have called you. And when you
Right?
answer, I say, hey, brother, because it feels right. It feels right for me to say that. And I only say that if it feels right. When I call someone and I say sister, and uh, and she's from European ancestry, I might say, hey, I'm calling you sister. I hope that's okay with you because I feel a bond. I feel a
Yeah.
connection. I feel like I can trust you. I feel like you got my back. So when I
Yeah.
feel that, I call these people sisters. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what what color their skin is. We're brothers and sisters. We're five-fingered.
Absolutely.
My culture, we say we are bala ashtlais, five-fingered ones. All right. Thank you, brother. And thank you, both of my brothers. I'm going to pass it on to Elena. I'll be right back.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Tash. And more importantly, thank you, Moon. So many incredible connections there, and we are family. And thank you for the medicine that you've shared with us today, and being a father. And I didn't know this until till you were talking and just taking in what you had to share. Was you being from the East Coast and me being from Aotearoa, the Waka, Waka, that is our canoes. So I'm of the 27th generation on my father's side, uh, matrilineal and patrilineal on my father's side, the 20th generation of the Waka, the Tainui. Um, and so, how amazing that has been, and you speaking about that with your people. But this is that incredible time where we get to share what's going on. And Moon, thank you so much for your recovery walk and also the incredible healing that you do in our community. We're just so blessed to have you, and including now. So this is that time of what's going on. What is going on is before we look at what happens if you're new into the circle, we just look at what's going happening. And this is what's happening next month. But before I actually tell you about that, we have been very blessed to have interns. One of the interns we have at the moment is this wonderful young woman by the name of Cricket Tiger, who is a student of Stanford University. When we've had interns, we say to them, "What would you like to do?" Whether that be on the production side, there's many things Indigenous Ways does, and one of the things that Cricket wanted to do was host the Wisdom Circle. So Tasha's been working with her and saying, "Okay, well, it's up to you. Who do you want?" And what did the beautiful Cricket get? The amazing Rose B. Simpson. So next month, on Wednesday, the 13th. So just please take a note. It's not on the third week, we always have this, but on the second week, and there's wonderful reasons for that. We have the extraordinary Rose B. Simpson, who is an internationally known mixed media artist, who is from the Santa Clara Pueblo. Her work engages ceramic sculpture, metals, fashion, performance, music, installation, writing, and also she does custom cars. So be sure to join us and also be blessed by the amazing presence of Cricket Tiger, who will be hosting the Wisdom Circle next month. And if Cricket's name is quite familiar, you're right. In December in 2013, she also was on the Wisdom Circle. So, like Cricket and also the amazing Moon of what he shared, they are one of over 200 presenters in our video library. If you go to our website, as I said before, IndigenousWays.org, you can subscribe to our newsletter. And you'll see below me all the social media blasting along. If you're watching from social media, please like or subscribe to our pages. We'd love to hear from you. And also, since the beginning, April the 1st, 2020, we have had ASL interpreters, making it access available for all. All our events have been free. So a big shout out to our interpreter this evening, Errol. Thank you, Errol. Also, our sponsors making this possible. Just want to give a big shout out to the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department. So we'd love you to save this date, which is which is August the 15th, which is the Friday. What will be happening is we will have our Indigenous Ways Festival down at the Water Tower. This is in partnership of Lensic 360 and also the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department, our main sponsors. Also, many other sponsors we're involved with. We have 5 extraordinary artists that will be, including Grammy Award, Robert Mirabal, as well as G Precious, both from the Pueblos here in northern New Mexico. We also have joining them Deaf Eye and Interstate and the beautiful Red Miller Cody. We're so excited. We've got lots of food vendors and artisan vendors that will be there selling their wares. All of this will have ASL interpreted, and it's free. So we would love to see you. Be sure to save that date. There's a QR code, or go to our website to find out more about that. And you can register there online so we can keep hold of in touch with you all. Lastly, if you're able to donate, we've got PayPal, Venmo, Slow Mail, and also the PO Box number. Yeah, thanks so much for coming back on, Tash, and the beautiful Moon. You know, unfortunately, this is that time which we've run out, and honoring everyone's time. I want to thank you if you came in live and watching this. If you're watching the recording, thank you for blessing us. Thank you for our interpreter, the beautiful Errol, making access available to all. We'll look forward to seeing you at the next Wisdom Circle, which is Wednesday, August the 13th. So the second, not the third week, the same time, same place, with the beautiful Rose B. Simpson being hosted by Cricket Tiger. But most importantly, please, let's give it up for the one and only Moon.
Tabutnish. That means thank you in my language. Ahu.
Let's hear your new song. Let it go. Let it be. Let it go. Let's hear your new song.